Welcome to this week's episode of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh Morgan. I am pleased to be the host of the one, I guess, when we look on our website, politics broadcast on Rogers TV London. And sometimes I wonder if our viewers, they wonder, well, why are we talking about this today? And we talked about running recently. We talk about all kinds of things, but in my opinion, everything is political. But today, in anticipation of Mother's Day, we're going to talk politics with one of my favorite figures from the London political scene, from the Southwestern Ontario political scene. She's also a professor at King's College. She was an NDP candidate in the federal election, and she is one of the founders of an organization that I just really was so impressed with when I was involved in politics, Women in Politics, because of the transformative way that they dealt with me as a candidate and really trying to do politics differently. So welcome to the show, Shawna Lewkowitz.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So with Shawna, I know people are familiar with you a little bit from your work through Women in Politics. I know you worked with Urban League of London. I know you've done so many other things around town. Professor at King's College, can you talk to me just a little bit about all of the, I guess, the passion projects that you have been involved with over the years? Maybe start with King's College, because the program that you're involved with is so important and so awesome.
Yeah, so I teach in social justice and peace studies, and I'm the community-based learning coordinator there at King's University College. And it's been, I think, like 5 or 6 years I've been teaching. And the courses I teach are experiential in nature. So it's really taking students and, you know, in their 3rd and 4th years, bringing them out and connecting them to community and seeing how issues of social justice and peace show up in community. And we have tremendous community partners who, provide great opportunities for our students to learn so much. And then we have another course that I co-teach with Dr. Jackie Newman and Anne-Marie DeSico Best, who was our mayor for 10 years. And the 3 of us teach a course called Women in Civic Leadership that connects women and gender diverse folks with leaders and mentors in the community. Somewhat similar to the other course, but just learning about civic leadership and, you know, how to overcome barriers and challenges to leadership in the community. And we're so grateful for the many, many mentors that we have that work with our students. So yeah, I feel really fortunate to be part of such an important and creative program and wonderful colleagues and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, sounds fantastic. And I know that, you personally, because you've been involved with politics for so long as well, you know why it is so important to have mentors and have programs like this available to people who are still in 2022 really underrepresented among the ranks of our political leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and we know that those barriers exist even more so for people who are racialized, people with disabilities, Indigenous people. So those multiple barriers are significant and continue to exist. And so, you know, within the program, the mentors are represent, you know, various aspects of London, various identities and whatnot. And we really try to, you know, draw the pool of students from people who may not have access to traditional power or formal power, so that they can learn from others who've been there, who are in leadership positions, but can understand the experiences and challenges that, you know, somebody who a racialized woman may go through, or somebody who's lower income. So yeah, it's really important, I think, to see what others have done and to get that support and advice. And you know, most of them continue to stay in contact long after the program's over, and continue those relationships. And that, I think, is one of the most important things, is the value of building authentic, good relationships that you nurture, as time goes on. So fantastic work. And now, in terms of, you know, the outcome of a program like this, why is it so important to get people who are bringing these different perspectives into leadership positions? What could government look like
if we had a more, I guess, broad, diverse representation of the people that make up this country, this province, this, region of Ontario in leadership positions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the common frame that we hear, and it's true refrain we hear is that you need to have a seat at the table for your views to be represented. It is much bigger than that, though. It isn't about representation. Sure, we need diverse candidates, we need diverse voices at the table, but we need people who can see and understand different ways of doing things to transform the systems. These systems were built on like white patriarchy, like heterosexism, like it's there. And so we need to bring in different voices, people who have different ways of knowing and being, to transform those systems so that they better reflect everybody within our societies, our cities, our provinces, and our country, to get to a better place than where we are. So representation is absolutely important, but it has to go further than that.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the things that really stuck out for me when I was involved in politics, coming to the process, for example, of electing people. So you and I interacted when I was moderating a debate during the federal election, and this means of getting to know people where it's rapid fire questions and everybody has a very short amount of time is a way to get to know your candidates. But when Women in Politics hosted candidates, so when I was on the other side, you were doing roundtable discussion. You were just allowing people to interact with the candidates in such a different way. And I think that's maybe a little bit about what you're talking about. When we're trying to elect leaders, is the best way to learn about a leader and make a choice putting them on jeopardy, or is it having these small conversations? And I loved that process. What was informing the way that Women in Politics did politics?
Yeah, so that's a World Cafe model that's used in different settings, and it is a different way of going about it that was intentionally introduced to look at different ways that we could build connections and relationships, as you've said, and put the power in the hands of residents and individuals as opposed to politicians. So rather than just responding to questions that you may anticipate, it was an opportunity to really engage in conversation and go deeper with candidates and really get to know them. And as a candidate at that time, that the feedback that we received from both the candidates and the people who attended was just how much more enriching and informative it was. And so kind of goes back to what I was saying, we have to do things differently if we want different results. And it's not just about opening a door or pulling up a chair at a table. It's really about doing politics differently in a way that reflects, people's different ways of engaging and experiencing things.
And so after, unfortunately, Women in Politics is not, I guess, operating anymore, but going forward, we've got a provincial election coming up. How would you like to be interacting with the candidates that are coming up? Because I'm going to be hosting debates again, and I'm going to be asking questions. So what kind of things would you like to know from the people that are in this election coming up?
Yeah, from the candidates coming up. Yeah, just some of those like deeper questions around getting past the platforms and obviously I think policy is exceptionally important, but getting kind of to the character and the integrity of the candidates, because it is a platform that's easy for people to read, but I think the ways that you host debates, and you do such an excellent job, is a way to really get to know the candidates and who they are, because they are the person that you're going to go to in your community who, if you have an issue or if you have a concern, that will represent you. And it is about building a relationship. So anything that we can do to sort of, understand what that relationship will look like and how these people will represent us in the best way possible, I think is extremely valuable.
For sure. Thank you. And thank you for the compliment. So anyway, I hope our viewers will stay with us. We're going to chat some more about Mother's Day and being a mom and being a woman in politics a little bit after the break. But we do have to take a short break, but we'll be back with more LDN, ONT TV, and Shawna Lewkowitz after this.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Don't be distracted and leave your cooking unattended.
Stand by your pan and look while you cook.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
So one of the exercises we're going to look at is a squat. A squat is a very important functional exercise in terms of it takes your body up and down, and it's a great one to do with your kids. So first of all, we're going to look at Jess and Cash. They're going to do body weight squats. So let's see your body weight squats. Way you go. And you can see they're getting all the way down, hips getting below knees, knees tracking straight over top of toes, and back is nice and flat. Now, if we want to add a little bit more resistance, picking up a dumbbell or a kettlebell is a great way to build your strength. So we're going to pick that up. He's going to tuck it right underneath his chin, and up and down he goes. Good. Nice and controlled. Up and down, up and down. Perfect. And then, of course, there's the main barbell squat, which most people are a little bit more familiar with. Jess is going to duck underneath the bar. And she's going to get her feet a little bit wider, shoulder width apart, and she's going to squat right down. You can see again, hips getting below knees, knees tracking straight over top of the toes, back nice and flat. Good body position.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh, and I've been speaking to Shawna Lewkowitz, who, like me, is a woman who has been involved in politics, and also coming up, she'll be celebrating with her family Mother's Day. So we're both moms. We've both been involved while moms in politics. Shawna, I know about some of the challenges that I've faced as somebody who's a single parent, bringing my kids with me to debates, for example, and always having that juggling those responsibilities. Can you talk to us a little bit about your experience when you were on the candidate side in terms of trying to, I guess, do everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I give you a lot of credit, Bronagh, because it is difficult. And, you know, I think the thing that helped me the most is a partner who took a lot of that load for me during the election. So, you know, I think it goes back to there are, you know, additional barriers and challenges for different women and folks who are running in politics, and it doesn't look the same for all of us. That said, I mean, it still isn't easy, that's for sure. My daughters are teenagers at the time, and so they were a lot of the reason that I did choose to run. Their encouragement, you know, they basically said, you need to do this. You know, you've been behind the scenes for a long time. These issues are the things that you talk about, what's most important to you. You know, you have our full support. And so knowing that was really helpful. And they were also at an age like where they could help, where they could come out and knock on doors and campaign. As you know, that comes with other experiences that aren't always positive because they see everything at the door. The majority of it is positive, but there is some sexism and other issues that show up that aren't pleasant. That is the reality. And so seeing how I handled those situations, or our volunteers handle the situations, and quite frankly, watching them handle it was impressive. But as always, they shouldn't have to, and nor should we. And so having those conversations as well around, you know, this, it's still not okay. It's not okay for people to talk to us like that, to, you know, sometimes call us names or whatever it may be. But that is what it is. So it's you know, for me, my kids are older. They kind of got the full experience, I would say, of what it is like to be a candidate and campaign.
Yeah. So a lot of challenges, and obviously you and I have our, we have different situations that we're in, but there are a lot of things that we can bring to the table. And I think that was one of the things that you're so passionate about, is making sure that there are voices that have not been heard at the political table that we've got to bring to the forefront.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we've touched on women in politics and the work that we've done there. And, I'm proud of a lot of the work that we did. And it was time for new voices and new experience to come forward and to be supported. And, I think that there's some groups in the city that racialized folks and, Indigenous folks who are doing great work around community organizing and politics. And, I'm hopeful that the community can rally behind that kind of work, because that's really what's needed going forward is, something different. And, things have a time and a place, and then it's time to transition to something else. So I think that's the moment that we're in.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes, people feel passionate about getting involved with the community without realizing there are so many wonderful organizations. You don't always have to reinvent or come up with a new organization, because there is so much amazing work going on right now here in London that you can get behind if you want to be politically active.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no shortage. And we have a provincial election and we have a municipal election. So there's no shortage of ways to get involved. And it is important, right? These are the decisions that impact our lives every single day. And having an opportunity to be a part of that means that we not only get to impact our own lives, but the lives of our communities, which people care about, right? Which is why they get involved in any organization, whether it be political or otherwise. So
absolutely. So I know you'll still be active, whether or not you're, at the forefront or getting behind some of the fantastic causes that are available to get behind here in London. I appreciate you taking the time today as a busy mom in anticipation of Mother's Day. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. And I hope our viewers will stay with us, because we have more LdnOnt TV after the break.
This program is brought to you by the following sponsors.
It's about sharing and caring. It's about doing and belonging. It's about living life to its fullest. And it's about laughing out loud. We are L'Arche Canada, and we're about witnessing and sharing the gifts of all people. Learn more about us today.
Rogers TV is a proud community partner with the Canadian Mental Health Association in supporting Mental Health Week.
Visit mentalhealthweek.ca for more information. #GetReal about how to help.
October 5th, 2014, my daughter was hit by a train. She was walking along the sides of the tracks, and it shattered her world.
You're watching Rogers TV, London.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh. In anticipation of a big day this weekend, which is Mother's Day, we were just chatting with Shawna Lewkowitz. Now we have a special treat. Paul Nicholson, he's a member of Bird Friendly London, is here to talk to us a little bit about the organization, a little bit about all of the fantastic things that are going on this weekend, because if you're looking for something to do with a mom or somebody special in your family, or just on your own, if you're just bird curious, you have so many options of fantastic things to do this weekend to mark the Migration Festival. Talk to me, Paul, a little bit about what it is to be a bird-friendly city, because apparently we are.
We are, Bronagh. Absolutely. So very briefly, London is one of 5 certified bird-friendly cities in the country. Nature Canada set up significant criteria that have to be met to achieve this status. And last year, under the leadership of Brendan Samuels, and with the partnership of the City of London, we became a bird-friendly city. So that's good. Bravo us. And there are birds here, especially now that spring migration is on.
And so people apparently during the pandemic, when people have been maybe spending less time at work, maybe a little bit less on their plate, bird watching and being involved in the birding community has really seen a huge rise, hasn't it?
It has. There has been an uptick in bird enthusiasm. You know, for more than 100 years. Bird watching has been a thing. Some might call it a nerdy thing, but it's been a thing. And through the pandemic, going out and looking at birds has been uplifting, good for our spirit, safe. And people have discovered the beauty of forests or the beauty of birds, and it's been documented in the media.
Yeah, so I've noticed that as well. And now, fortunately, as a member of the media, I'm able to bring this information to our viewers about what is going on this weekend. So I know there are so many different ways to get involved with the festival this weekend. So can you give us kind of the rundown?
Absolutely. So we've got, it kicks off on Thursday, and I want to say Bird Friendly London has done work with 2 important partners, Nature London, which has been around for more than 150 years, and they're fantastic, and the London Public Library, another wonderful partner. So the festival kicks off on Thursday evening at the Wolf Hall in downtown London. And there will be 3 birdie presentations one by Tim Hain, and he'll talk about bird science and citizen science that people participate in. Aranya Iyer will talk about some bits about migration, and also she'll talk about birding and social media, which is fascinating to me. And David Rodenheiser is going to talk about bird photography. He's an expert. He is next level. And he'll share some of his insights about bird photography, and he'll link it also to Habitat. And so that's the kickoff. And I'm going to just mention here that from the beginning, we have planned this bird festival to be accessible. Everything is free about it. So there's no fee to be paid. And some of the hikes that we're going to be leading on are roller friendly, whether you're wheelchair or stroller or have mobility issues. We've got some specially designed accessible hikes. And in terms of, like, it is a bird friendly city, we're not taking people to the Strathroy Lagoons, which is great birding. It's all within the city. So you can walk, bike, drive, take a bus. So it's accessible geographically too. So it's an accessible bird festival.
So there's going to be bird watching, but I know that there's going to be, and there's some bird instruction, but there's also going to be some bird socializing, I think.
Yes. So there is, Bronagh, a series of hikes, guided hikes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm leading a hike, for example, on Sunday morning at 10 for new birders, people who are, as you said, bird curious and might not self-identify as a bird watcher. So and people can pre-register for these hikes on the Nature London website or the Bird Friendly London website. And there's and so those hikes will be happening. And then the other bookend event for the festival will be on Sunday afternoon. And Bird Friendly London is collabing with the London Brewery Co-op, and there's some Bird Friendly London beer, including a non-alcoholic one. And so we'll celebrate birds from 3 to 6 on Sunday afternoon. So that will be a little more social and a little less birdie, but still bird themed.
That's fantastic. The concept of you're putting some things together I love, which is birds and beer. So that sounds like a perfect Mother's Day to me. Paul,
Yes.
talk to me about, so why are you a birder?
Well, there's so many reasons to bird. You can bird, but I'll answer your question. My dad was a birder, and he took us to Point Pelee every year. So through the 1960s, I'd be woken up at 5:30 in the morning. We got to get to the point to see the shorebirds come in. And I hated it because I was 6. But then it stuck, and now I love it. But you can be a birder for any number of reasons. Some people are curious about their behaviors. Some people like the scientific aspect of bird watching. Some people are competitive listers. That's fine. That's good. So there are any number of reasons to engage in birding. Yeah, it's helpful.
Do you have a favorite?
I have a list of favorites, I suppose, but it's so difficult for me. Bronagh, I was out this morning with my binoculars, and I'd say the northern parula, which is a pretty warbler, that's my favorite so far today. But I also saw black-throated green, a beautiful bird, and some blue-gray gnatcatchers, and a brown thrasher, which is a marvelous bird. So they're among my favorite birds today.
It sounds like there are a lot of opportunities, not just this weekend, but all of the time in London, a bird-friendly city, to observe and enjoy birds in nature.
Well put, it's true. We have tremendous environmentally significant areas. Nature London through the year leads nature hikes. And Fanshawe Lake is a good place to bird. I am birding in London every week, all year. So yes to that. And I must say, kudos on that beautiful cardinal behind me.
It's my business cardinal.
I love that.
So fantastic opportunities this weekend to get involved, whether you're new to birding or just interested in birding, whether you've been birding for a long time, bringing community together. And I'm sure a lot of people will be enjoying the bird-friendly beer.
Yes, absolutely. So
of non-alcoholic or regular genre. Again, perfect Mother's Day options for people here in London and organizations that you can get behind all year round. So thanks for being with us and telling us all things bird-friendly London, Paul. Thanks to our first guest, Shawna, and thank you viewers for being here for this edition of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh. I hope you'll enjoy this weekend and tune in next week for more of our show.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
Hi, I'm Melissa Yee, Community Engagement Specialist at Rogers TV. Volunteering at Rogers TV during my high school years provided a great opportunity for me to learn on-air reporting and writing, which helped me get into the college I